Alright, hey everybody, so in this video I am going to show you how to play the song Amazing Grace. Now this version I actually did create myself. I used the same melody from Amazing Grace and the same chords, however the chords I wrote are my own voicings and things like that. So be sure to download the sheet music, it is free, it's in the description of this video. You can just follow it to a Dropbox link and follow along with it. Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing I always like to do is just play it for you first and then I will explain it more in detail. So here it is. Alright, so this is a beginner to early intermediate piece, right? As you notice, right, with the right hand, right, it does move around a little bit. We stay within this range pretty much from C, well, I think we go as low as actually D in the melody, and then as high up to this D. So we are playing in an octave range, so we will need to move our fingers around a little bit. In the left hand, we are playing mostly 3-note chords, however, there are some 4-note chords. So let's break each hand up and go over it individually. So the first thing we want to make note of in this song is two things. One, the key signature. So we will see that there is an F sharp in the key signature, which means we're in the key of G major. So in G major, right, just has one sharp. So anytime we see an F in the sheet music here, we are going to play it as an F sharp. Now the other thing to take note of is the time signature. We are in 3/4 time, right? So there is only 3 beats in a measure in this. So that's what we're starting with. We have the key of G major and we're in 3/4. So let's go ahead and actually just start with the left hand and analyze really what the left hand's doing. So the left hand is playing a few different chords. We're playing really just about 4 different chords here. We're playing a G chord, right? Now those may not look like a G chord. It is a G chord. It's in its second inversion. If you're not familiar with inversions, please check out my video on inversions. I don't want to spend time talking about it in this piece. So we are starting with a G chord in the first measure, then we move on to a G chord again, and then we just play a D7 chord. Now this is a 4-note chord, so if you've never played a 4-note chord before, right, the best way to use the fingering for it is your pinky or your 5th finger on the D there, and then I like to use my 3rd finger, 2nd, and 1st. That's more comfortable than the 4th. If you try and use your 4th, you can get a little uncomfortable. So we're just going from G major chord right there to that D7 chord there. And then from there, right, we are staying in a small range. We will then move on to our E minor chord, C major chord, and back to G major chord. So I'm just looking at the top line here, just these first 4 measures really. And then in the right hand, right, once again, we're just looking at these first 4 measures, right? So the nice thing about this melody at the beginning, right, is we stay within this small range here, really from D to B. So the way I like to place my hands is I put my 1st finger on D, 2nd finger on E, 3rd finger on G, 4th finger on A, 5th on B. The reason I skip F is because we're actually not playing an F in the first 4 measures. So I'm just going to have my hand set up like this, left hand here, in the first 4 measures, we'll go like this. So not too much movement in the right hand or the left hand here, right? We're kind of just staying in one range here. And then as we move on, right? Right, then we get to that chord. Now this chord is actually an A7 chord. So an A7 chord is A, C sharp, E, and G. But again, we're now playing this in an inversion. So we're going to invert it twice. There would be first inversion, there would be second inversion. Now I like this inversion here because it keeps us within the same small range, so we don't have to move our left hand from here down to here, right? We just do it here to there. Once again, I'm using that same fingering when we get to that chord. We are in measure 7 here, so 5th finger on E, 3rd finger on G, 2nd finger on A, 1st finger on C sharp. So just going from measure 6 to 7, it'll look like this. And then right there to that nice little sus chord there with D, G, and C. So measure 6, 7, and 8 are a little more challenging than the first few. So this is from measure 6. We have that. And that's what we have there. So in the right hand, I did want to point out, right, that we are going to have to shift our hand out of position, right? So we're going to do measure 6. Now, if we use our 5th finger on B, right, we'll notice that the melody is still going up, right? We have to get our melody all the way up to D, and if we use our 5th finger here, right, we're going to have to do something so we don't run out of fingers or have to do anything awkward like that. So if you do use your 5th finger on B there, that's totally fine. What you'll then need to do, though, is bring your 3rd finger over to A, and then switch so then your 4th finger takes B, and then your 5th finger can come up to D. So let's look at that one more time, right? Starting in measure 6, right? We're in our normal right hand position. This is measure 7, right? Now we do A, B, D, right? So we play B with our 5th finger, and then we're going to need to shift our hand over a little bit so we can do A with our 3rd, B then with our 4th finger, and pinky up to D. And then we can keep our hand in this position as the melody goes. And then once we get to that G in measure 10, I believe, I'm sorry, measure 11, right? Then we're going to need to bring our thumb to D, and then we can kind of shift back into that position. So like I said, the right hand is going to require you to shift your hand a little bit. So if you've never done anything like this before, it'll be a little bit of a challenge, but with some practice and breaking it down into sections, you will be able to do it. So let's take it again for measure 6. There's my switch. Then our left hand just plays that D7 chord again. And once again, so let's say there that you decide to use your 1st finger on G in measure 11, right? Then you would have to kind of do something like that, and you don't ever really want to twist your hand like that. So let's say you use your 1st finger there on G, you may have to do a finger switch where you bring your 2nd finger onto it to get there. So let's look at that in slow motion, right? I'll start on measure 9 with the D7 chord. 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and finger switch. And then we go to our C chord. And then the rest will play out. Just like that. So let's look at measures 12 through 17 together, right? So we just finished measure 11. We get to D, right? Then we move to our C chord in our left hand. Play that E. It's best if you could play that E with your 3rd finger, because then we can do, right? We can kind of be in a C position here with our hand lined up like this. Then your 5th finger will take G, G. 3rd finger will take E again. 2nd finger could take D here. Now, once again, right, if we go and measure 13, D, E, G, if we use our pinky on G, we're going to be in trouble because we still have to get up to B. So if you end up doing that, the best thing to do is a finger switch. Now, I didn't really explain it before, but a finger switch is when your finger is holding down a note, and while it's holding it down, you bring over another finger to replace it while you're holding it down. This allows you to move your hand position without letting go of the note. So let's look from measure 12 here, right? Our 5th finger on G here, we'll do a finger switch that can get our hand up there, and then we're in position to finish this song just like that. Now, the reason I'm not giving you specifics on which finger to use is because there are multiple options, right? If we go back to measure 12, right, you can also stretch your 4th finger over to G. Then you wouldn't have to do a finger switch. I actually find finger switches not to be too difficult. Once you get used to doing it, it becomes quite easy to do. And then you can finish out the song. All right, so let's look at the whole song again. And I did put the metronome marking on this. I think 70 is a great speed for this song. I don't know if I'm playing it exactly at 70 right now, but you can pull out your metronome. It is meant to be a little bit of a slower song, right? So here we go. So I'm just going to play it from beginning to end and, try and watch my fingers and see what moves I make, whether it's a finger switch, whatever you may need to do. And you may need to watch this video multiple times. You may need to pause it, go back, watch certain parts multiple times. I don't expect you to just watch it once and figure it out through there, right? It takes time to learn a piece of music. All right, so here it goes from the beginning. All right, so that is Amazing Grace, right? This is a little version that I put together myself. It is meant to be a little like beginner, late beginner, early intermediate piece. Like I said, if you're a complete beginner, this may be a challenge because of the finger movements you have to do. But if you're kind of, you've been playing for a little bit and you wanted to work on expanding your ability to move your fingers around like that with finger switches, changing hand positions, this is a great piece to work on. All right, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below or just email me at digitalpianoschool@gmail.com. Always let me know if you have pieces that you want to learn and I will happily make a tutorial. See you again soon.